Well, what I liked best about the systematic leadership was probably the section on transparency was my favorite. I like the idea of the policy deployment. I like the idea of identifying what the breakthrough strategies are and those things that we'll look back on, 3 years from now and recognize that we're certainly glad we did those and the impact that that's had on our business. Personally, what I probably liked best about the session, I would say, is that I knew bits and pieces, and I knew, some parts that I'd had, but I'd never seen it rolled out in a systematic process. And this helps teach us how to implement it throughout the organization. And so I think that was very helpful for me, not recognizing how to do that without this training.
Okay, you talked before with me about the light bulb moments going on for some of the members. Mm-hmm. Anything you can expand on that?
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. I think in the United States, there's a lot of people that have taught lean, and people have had, little bits and pieces, and they've read books, and they have somewhat of an understanding, and they apply lean by applying various tools, but they don't understand the cultural change that takes place and the effort that needs to go into that. And as we've gone through this course, and I've watched other people in the group, you can see the light bulb come on. You can see thought processes. You can see groups start to whisper between each other and start to draw out crisis boards or whatever on their own. And you just see that light bulb come on, and that's engaging and that's exciting at the same time.
Okay, you also mentioned about this is not necessarily intuitive, and it's something that has to be sort of learnt in a systematic way. Expand on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't believe that it's intuitive. I think that it's not what we learn in business schools in our country. And so when we get this kind of training and you see how to put it into practice and how to build it step by step as you go through, it makes perfect sense, and it's easy to understand, but it isn't always intuitive, and we didn't know that. Sometimes we look back on it and we think, wow, that's so simple now, but 6 weeks or 4 months ago we didn't necessarily know that. And so hindsight provides that wonderful perception for us, but oftentimes we don't know that, and so it is good to have it taught to us. And one of the other things about the systematic leadership, it's taught in you teach it so that we learn to use a systems approach, and we think in terms of processes and systems, but the course itself is taught in a systematic way. So you follow your own system, and it's easy to see that as you go through the course.
Okay. Some of the principles that we covered were things like leader or manager as a teacher, and also part of the role of a manager is to teach people how to think and to understand how people are thinking. What did you find from that helped you?
Mm-hmm. I think that was something that I knew that, or I understood that, but it had never been presented in a way where I understood that was the right thing to do, and I believe that to be true. We are teachers, and we need to spend our time teaching our people, not only for their own development, but for the growth of the business and for the future of the business. We'll be gone in the years to come, but that business still needs to survive, still needs to be strong. So if they take the strengths, and we're willing to teach those strengths to people, then they gather them from a number of individuals, then they become much more prepared to run the business on their own in the future.
Okay, and then what sort of impact has it had so far, recognising its early days, because you've just gone through the first levels of 2 levels of management?
Right. Well, we've already recognized that it was the right thing for our senior level management to go through. Now we're putting our supervisors, department managers through, and they're almost finished up now. And we've recognized that if we can get a 30% productivity improvement, the things that we would do from a project standpoint to get that kind of improvement is pretty significant. So if we can get that improvement, then we need to take that throughout our organization. So our next group to get this training will be our professionals, and we'll continue to roll that down. So we all speak the same language, we all have the same understanding, and we're all on the same path as we move forward.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think that there is another piece to it that I would like to add, and that's one of the things that hit home for me was the idea that feelings create behaviors, and that was something that I didn't necessarily realize, and it's so true, and it impacts us in all different kinds or aspects of our lives, and not just our work life, but in all kinds of relationships. So I think that was pretty valuable for me as well.
Okay, thank you very much.